Hello, sweet parents. Welcome to the When Our Adult Children Walk Away podcast. My name is Dr. Janet Steinkamp, and during each episode of When Our Adult Children Walk Away, I will provide my professional and personal insights, information and opportunities for your self-reflection and growth, tips and tricks to make every day count, and encouragement to keep moving forward. I'm here to help you dig deep and get down to the root causes so that you can find your way out of the darkness to a positive and lasting relationship. Grab your notebook and a pen, settle into your favorite chair, and let's get to it. I'm Dr. Janet Steinkamp. I'm a coach and I'm an educator, and I work with primarily parents to help them understand their particular circumstances and to learn ways they can communicate differently, understand boundaries, work to rebuild trust, and a mutually respectful relationship. Today, we're going to look at together the difference between the role of mom to an adult child and the role of grandma to our adult child's children in the context of estrangement. This is an important topic because both roles serve an important function. They're beautiful, they're meaningful, they are really powerful in helping our adult children, recognizing them as individuals and independent people who we love and support, and nurturing and loving and creating a bond with our grandchildren. Both roles carry very different boundaries. They serve different emotional purposes. So let's look at mom first. When our children become adults, the role of mom shifts. We spend all of their years with them being a caretaker and a guide, nurturing, advising, and in ways walking ahead of them. As our children become adults, we move into a more mentor or partner role. I like to call it a parent partner. We become an emotional anchor for them. A mom to an adult child respects autonomy. We understand they are a separate person and we are no longer their counsel unless they request it. This is different than past generations. I hear this often from moms and dads I work with, and I have experienced it myself. We are in many ways benched. We're still in their life. They still love us, value us, but we're no longer at the front of the pack on the inner circle. And that's not an easy transition. Many of us get tripped up in that transition. And it's that sort of stutter step that can root the potential of an estrangement. So our role becomes more of a support and to communicate to our adult children that we believe in them. We believe in their ability to find their own way. I mean, it makes sense we would do that because we raised them, right? If we're confident that we raised them well, then we have to be confident in their ability to go out into the world. Now, we aren't always confident in how we raised our kids. There's a lot of press out there that tells us we didn't do such a great job, but it isn't necessarily true, and we don't get to do it over. Trying to parent our adult children as a caretaker and guide in their adult years leads to estrangement. I tell parents that we need to be a calm presence for them. It's not our advice that they're looking for when they come to us. It's their reassurance and their reinforcement and a listening ear. Listen and learn what's going on for them and then encourage them in their decision making. We can certainly throw in a nugget or two when it's requested, but at the end of the day, they're not looking for us to solve their problems. When our adult children ask for space, we need to understand it is not necessarily rejection. It may simply be that they need space to make decisions and they don't trust us to be able to stay out of it. That's a sad realization if that day comes, and that's a fact in your circumstances, and yet it's a critical understanding. That trust needs to be rebuilt. And the way we rebuild that trust is to stay out of it. Whatever it is that's going on for our adult child, they need to be able to trust that we understand our role as a cheerleader, as that emotional anchor. When our adult children ask for a boundary, they put a limit in place. Sometimes I hear about limits of time. You can call on Wednesday for 15 minutes at 3 p.m. It feels insane. And yet what they're doing is building boundaries that they need, that work for them, and they're still allowing us a chance to demonstrate they can trust us to respect their boundaries. So that's what we need to do. Not push back, not question, not make excuses to call at different times. Make a list on your counter of topics you need to talk to them about in that 15 minutes, if that's what you've been given. We have to work with what they give us to demonstrate they can trust us, to be an emotional anchor and a cheerleader, not an advisor, fixer, teller, doubter, or judge. So given that context, what does it mean to be a grandma to their children? I understand that this affects most every grandma who is struggling with a fracturing or strained relationship with an adult child. And that happens because the relationship as grandma moves through the adult child. The adult child is the access provider to those children, those grandchildren. Even when the grandchildren become adolescents, move into high school, have their own phones, we may have the ability to have a side relationship beside the parent. It will not necessarily benefit us in the estrangement with our child. That our relationship with the child, our child, comes first. It is the primary relationship. When that relationship is strong and healthy, then we can also move to that relationship with our grandchildren. Now, this isn't pure. I've worked with many, many people whose relationship with their adult child becomes strained, but they're still asked to pick up the kids after school, or they're still asked to babysit on Friday night. The risk of that becomes becoming a helper, an employee. Now, this is where we need to understand how we move between the two roles. So in the times we are asked to provide care for our grandchildren, there's no downside to that necessarily, unless it becomes exploitive, unless they start taking us for granted. And then it's our job to build some boundaries, and in a way that does not further alienate us from our child. And we also want to be grandma. So we need to know how we accept the offer of caretaking as the grandma. What I'm saying is, as grandma, our influence and relationship with our grandchildren is dependent on the trust of our adult child and the access they allow us to have. I have had clients who have, not adult, I would say young adult, high school aged grandchildren who come to their home after school. They just hang out. They have their driver's license. They just hang out. But they hang out with grandma without mom knowing it. Or they start to develop a side relationship that is exclusive of mom. And that is absolutely okay. That is your choice. It is your adult grandchild's choice. However, it will not bode well for your relationship with your child, because that is still the primary relationship. I don't know your circumstances. You need to take this information and apply it to your circumstances and weigh the benefits and the costs, understand how one relationship can impact the other. And we don't want to alienate ourselves from the grandkids, right? We want to have relationships with them too. It's important that our grandchildren have relationships with their grandparents. There are bales and bales of research that tell us the importance and power of intergenerational families. We understand that. The sooner, this is my point, the sooner we can take care of the fracture or estrangement in our adult child's relationship, the healthier the relationship will be in the family with the grandchildren. They're not mutually exclusive. Having relationships with grandchildren is not disconnected from having a relationship with an adult child. They are the decision maker, the parent to this child, just like you are the parent to your child. The importance of the clarity between these two roles means that it allows you to move between the two in a way that your child can anticipate and understand. If you can find agreement between you and your adult child in how you can or need to relate to your grandchildren in order not to be a threat to your adult child, that's a bonus. If you have enough communication and enough trust in that relationship with your adult child, we can tackle those things. We can come up with some rules of the relationship, some boundaries that meet both the parents' needs, the son or daughter who's on a rocky term with you, and your relationship with them. We can meet both your needs, and by doing that, better meet the grandchildren's needs. Now, if this is, as clear as mud, I want you to listen to the next episode on this topic, and hopefully there will be some clarity for you. If you'd like to talk about it again, jump over to the When Our Adult Children Walk Away website and sign up for an appointment. You can also email me at janet@jesteinkamp.com. I do respond to my email personally. It can take up to 3 days for me to respond. So if you've not heard from me after 3 days, please reach out again. It's likely there was some kind of interruption in the email communication. Either something went to spam or something's not right if I've not responded in 3 days. And then in this next episode, we're going to take a deeper dive into this and look at 6 key differences between the mom and the grandma roles. And we're going to talk about how we know the priorities of each role, and when distance or no contact happens, how we navigate that. I'm going to share some specific survival strategies that will help protect you from an increased or more severe estrangement. And I'm going to give you some reflection tools so you can reflect on your behaviors and how you might unintentionally be complicating things for yourself and in your relationships. My goal is to help you grow stronger with your adult child so that you maintain healthy access to your grandchildren. So thanks for joining me today, this podcast episode. I'm glad you joined this conversation and hope it helped you. If you did find some benefit to this podcast episode or any of the podcast episodes, I would encourage you to share the podcast with someone who also might be needing this sort of support. It's difficult to find trustworthy and reliable sources of support, and this is one. There are also additional resources on my website, and you can leave a message for me on the website, schedule an appointment, and meet with me individually. So remember, every small step that you take, growing knowledge, learning more, understanding yourself better, moves you a step forward toward understanding and a step toward being ready for the potential of reconnection, ready to heal and improve and strengthen a trust-based, respectful, mutually beneficial relationship. Remember, you're not alone.